Menopause is no joke, and believe me, we know. We dedicated an entire Talk Pittsburgh episode to it last year and learned so much from the incredible doctors and health professionals we spoke to, as well as women like all of us who share the hard truths and humor of the process our bodies will go through.
It truly takes a village, I think, to approach this in a non-scary way. And this ongoing conversation that we're having here on the show, and one we're focusing on today with our next guest, who's encouraging women everywhere to start their post-menopause fitness journey. Chantla Israil, thank you so much for being here with us today.
That's a pleasure.
Your message is so important, and you've actually received national attention for the way that you are now kind of shifting your focus to fitness post-menopause. I mean, what inspired you to do all of this?
Well, when I realized how decreased my energy levels were, and then how like my recovery time took so much longer, I didn't understand really what it was, because when you go to the doctors, they're not really speaking to us about perimenopause, menopause, and being postmenopausal. So I started to research, and then I found out it wasn't so much what I was eating and what I wasn't doing, it was a hormonal thing that I couldn't control. So it was like, now, how do I adjust in this stage that I've, now approached? How can I make sure that I stay healthy, help my energy levels, and just be more productive and be positive with my body as well, the way I saw myself.
Yeah. So now, did you have a workout routine prior to understanding that you were going through menopause, or is that something that you added once you found out that you were going through this?
I had an at-home fitness bike that I used, but it was becoming more challenging, and I didn't understand why, because there were no significant changes that I was doing. And then I started to realize that something didn't seem right. And so when I started to research and then ask more questions when I went to the doctor, they were like, oh, you're at an age for menopause. But I actually was postmenopausal because I had a surgery at 32 that made me postmenopausal. So wasn't educated on what was going on. So I've been postmenopausal for 17 years. And so I went through menopause at 32.
That is incredible to me, and how important it is to advocate for yourself.
Absolutely.
I mean, what would you say to other women right now who are listening at home saying, that's me, I'm working out with no results, I'm feeling these hormonal changes? I mean, what was the first step to all of this?
First of all, documenting patterns. Your body has patterns, and seeing how you feel throughout, even though you may not be having a regular cycle, but your body is going through different patterns. And so documenting it, putting it down, because then when you go, you can look in your journal or whatever you're keeping, if it's an app or if it's a tracker, and then you're finding out your patterns for yourself. So when you go to the doctor, you can advocate, and it's evidence.
Sure.
Like, it happens around this time every single month. This is how I feel. This is the different things. Very similar to when I was going through the 4 phases of the menstrual cycle before. It doesn't really change. It just decreases, and especially finding out like the hormones that you're lacking. Estrogen plays a really big part in our energy level. So if you don't have that, maybe the doctor will say, okay, you might need hormone replacement therapy and things like that. The words that aren't really talked about in conversations that we're really not having. I think one of the reasons is there's so much stigma and shame associated around menstruation, which is periods are normal, periods are natural. It's a natural function of the female body. It's a healthy way of showing that your body's functioning in a proper way for your health. So when you go through the transitions of perimenopause, menopause, and being perimenopausal, you definitely have to find out now what works for you. You don't have the 20-year-old body with the estrogen level and the energy level and things like that. So now you have to find out what works for yourself. So I would say definitely documenting, because it's going to be your biggest advocate when you go to the doctor.
Outside of documenting, we want to know, what are you doing? Like, what is working for you when it comes to working out, and how do you stay motivated? Because I feel that's usually where I lose.
Yeah, that's where I lack too, babe.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think one of the biggest things, just finding a positive mindset, so shifting my mindset and being grateful that my body still allows me to move, finding movement in my body. It may not be the same way that it previously was, but waking up saying I can still walk properly, I can still pick up things, and then finding out what workouts work best for me, and saying the consistency over the intensity. So finding out if strength training, if walking, if swimming, even just sitting down and taking deep breaths at times to manage your stress. So every body, B-O-D-Y, is different. So what works for me may not work for you, Kelly, may not work for you, Mikey. So we have to find out what works for our body to be able to stay consistent, and then see ourselves very positive as we grow and evolve in the ever-changing, transition.
I love this. You just read so many women, just everyday women who are at home, like, I can do that too.
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
This was incredible. Thank you for sharing this journey with us and with everyone.
Yes, absolutely.
All right, and you can follow Chansla's fitness journey on our social channels. We will link you up on our website, kdka.com/talkpittsburgh.
And while you're there, you can watch our Menopause Unfiltered show featuring local doctors and viewers, as well as new research being done right here in Pittsburgh.